everyone.
Okay, good afternoon. We're Cherry T. This is going to be our Age UK campaign proposal. I'm Kendra. I have Alice, Olga, Kiara, Tina, and Chow Tung with me today. Today we're going to run through our agenda of our objectives, key issue, key strategies, campaign delivery, budget, and our campaign evaluation, the best for last. Our client objectives, we all kind of know them. We've tweaked them a little bit. So we're just going to run through them. We want to raise awareness, donations, and volunteer numbers for Age UK in the 25 through 44 age range, and we want to encourage them to also get volunteering and so forth. The marketing objectives for us, we want to raise £1.1 million in donations from that target age group. We want to acquire 2,100 volunteers in the 25 to 34 age group, and you'll notice this in our corporate volunteer section. And our third is to increase awareness about Age UK volunteering events among our target age range.
So we have identified one main key issue, which is an obstacle to reach this particular target group, which is that this segment doesn't sympathize with the elderly. They are much more likely to sympathize with other causes like animals, children, cancer. And this is because they are young people. They don't know how it feels like to be old, to be lonely, so they find it very difficult to identify themselves with this cause. And we believe that this is also because of the past negative messages that have been communicated in the past campaigns. So we want to change that in this IMC campaign. We want to develop very specific tailored messages for this target market. They will be the subject of our communications, and we want to spread more positive messages. So loneliness will still be a very sad thing, but we want to say to this target group, you can change it, you can make a difference. So we have here a stakeholder map. So of course Age UK has to deal with a huge number of stakeholders, but for the purpose of this specific campaign, we'll be focusing only on few of them, which are families, the local communities, corporates, and of course, always very important, the media. And within our age group, 25-44, we want to gain more donors and volunteers, and to do that, we have segmented this target group into 4 segments: students, corporate, families, and professionals. But we have decided to focus only on the 2 most important. So we will do corporates and families, and we have identified key strategies for each group and for each objective. So to raise more donations, we will focus on families, and we will launch weekly events, which will be Age UK picnics. And this will be an occasion for families to come inside Age UK local stores to make donations and to get more awareness of existing volunteering activities, while corporates will be more focused on getting more active volunteers.
So, starting with our first segment, which is families, meet our 2 typical families or our target group that we're targeting. It's going to be James and Julie with their 2 little children. They live in Greenwich, London, and they really value spending time with their family. They always look for some interesting places to go during the weekends, and obviously it's very important for them also to educate their children and show them what is important, what are their values. And Laura, she's also got 2 children and she lives in Leeds. She's very active, and she really looks after her children and wants them to get the same values from her and be interested in being proactive and involved in social life. After a bit of research, we came up with the insights, the consumer insights. that nowadays it's a big trend and an issue that most of young parents and just people who are trying to develop in their careers spend a lot of time working, and they lose balance between their work and family time, and spending time for their personal life. That's why we believe that it's very important for young parents to put their families together, invite their grandparents, and get to know their local communities, to see the people who live right around the corner or maybe next door, and we are going to bring them this opportunity so that they can put this link throughout their generations within their families, as well as meet those people who live in their local areas and get to know a bit more about local elderly people who are lonely as well. So they will learn a lot about volunteering events connected to this issue as well. So the company is going to be called Loneliness is Not a Picnic, which will be focused on the issue of loneliness, but also will be connected to the theme of our events. So the MAMC objective is going to be to gain 10 families to come each week to each local Age UK store to make the donation, to participate in the events that will be running there, and maybe some educational programs, and also they will obviously get the opportunity to donate, and the food that will they will buy there for their picnics will be also contributing to the donations. The key message is that it is important for the young parents to be involved in their local communities and create bonds between generations in this society and within their families.
So in order to spread this message, we are going to use advertising, and we are going to focus on local press. We have identified 4 key cities we are really going to focus on, which are London, Manchester, Liverpool and Leeds. So we are going to have an advertising campaign on the local newspapers in these cities. And we are also going to have out-of-home advertising. And for this we are going to exploit our own space, so Age UK stores. Then we will have 150 bus shelters in our 4 main cities. And we also want to exploit the previous partnership of Age UK with John Lewis, getting some free advertisement on Waitrose. And we are going to use social media ads as well on Facebook, because this is the most effective tool to make advertising on social media. And across these channels, we are going to have one central organizing idea, which will be our Loneliness is Not a Picnic. And we're going to use advertising because it's the most effective tool to raise awareness. Of course, we want to know people that we are organizing these events so that they will come and make their donations. And we are going to evaluate the effectiveness using QR codes that will be on the newspaper ads, on the out-of-home ads. We are going to use Google Analytics, A/B testing, and click-through rates for the social media ads. Then we are going to use PR, so we will develop feature stories that will be published on local newspapers, local radios, and local TV stations. And again, we want to focus on our 4 main cities in order to maximize the reach that we can get there. And we want to use PR because it's the best tool to stimulate brand preference, so tackle the issue that we were mentioning at the beginning, and so increase the sympathy of the target market toward the elderly. We will have an organic social media campaign as well, which will run through Age UK main social media channels, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram, and we want to encourage our followers to post pictures of them with their grandparents, showing that it is possible and it is fun to create bridges across generations. And here we are going to use an hashtag with a picnic. So we want to use social media because it's an effective tool to increase engagement with our followers and again increase the sympathy of our target market towards our cause. We are going to measure the effectiveness using number of additional followers, likes and shares.
And next, we will use the direct marketing. The email information will about local Age UK picnics with an attached coupon for a treat. And we will send emails for 3 times. The first one is in November. It's the start of our campaign. And the second one is in December. It's during the Christmas holiday and it will contain Christmas message. And the third one is in March. We will contain the Easter message. The reason why we will use the direct marketing is because we want to generate a strong call to action. And as for the KPI, we will calculate the number of coupons during the event the customers use.
So the budget of the first part of our campaign is going to consist of all the channels that we mentioned, with some additional costs. Some of them will be earned, obviously, like PR, but they will they will be cheaper than, for example, advertising. But they will include some additional costs, like events or writing a feature story or taking the material, like taking pictures or doing the getting materials for social media and other publications afterwards. So the total number you can see there, it's around 950 to 1,600. And the other part of the budget is going to be covering the second part of our campaign.
So the second target segment will be the corporate one, and there will be a focus more on the volunteering aspect. The consumer insight that we have found is that businesses want to show that they're really active when it comes to CSR activities and mostly partnering with other charities. This is a way for them to benefit as a company as well as the society as a whole. The reason we chose O2 as a partnership is because they thrive to connect with people through communication channels, and Age UK also aims to connect with the elderly to either talk to their loved ones or just in general talk to anyone that does care. So therefore the message that we have chosen is connecting with your loved ones. Now, just in case the partnership doesn't go through for some reason, we do have other options such as Vodafone, Skype, and EE. Now, as Kendra has mentioned before, our marketing objective is to recruit 10% of O2's employees in the age group of 25 to 34. This would be a rough figure of 2,150 individuals. Now, the IMC objective is to establish a partnership with O2 in order to encourage their employees to volunteer with us. Firstly, the strategy that we would aim to achieve is to encourage the O2 call center employees to contact the elderly for maybe just an hour monthly during their working hours. And we are looking around 2,500 employees, roughly. Secondly, there will be an in-store teaching session where the retail experts can teach the elderly how to use technological devices or any other technological queries that they may have. And we're looking around 400 outlets throughout the UK with around 3,500 retail employees. And lastly, we were thinking of possibly having employees who are positioned in the offices to volunteer and be part of a mentoring scheme where the elderly can share their knowledge and their experiences that they have accomplished with the volunteers. And we're looking around 15,850 employees overall.
Then we came up with the key message for the partnership, which is bridging communities through communication. But it is interesting to go into details why we've chosen O2, because we found similarities between the O2 blueprint objectives and Age UK objectives in terms of helping people, improving their lives and teaching them towards new challenges. We have proceeded to the employee demographics of O2. Total employees 21,580 employees, and an average age of 32 years old, which perfectly includes our target audience. We have then segmented the O2 employee in the retail outlet employee, call center employees, and office employees. This is to maximize our opportunity at a very corporate level.
Okay, so we've come up with 3 different tools to get this campaign rolling. Our first tool would be through direct marketing. We have 2 different stages for this. We have the pre-partnership, where we send emails throughout O2, where their database is saving us a little money, just to let them know about our partnership and what we would like the employees to volunteer for and how it can help them out. And then the breakdown's there, and then throughout the campaign, we want to send them an update, and then, of course, a thank you for taking their time out of their lives, with a slideshow of pictures, some testimonials from both the people who are volunteering and who are part of Age UK, who are receiving this great help, and then also with updates about achievements and some more call to action to volunteer again, to continue this good trend. The reason, of course, is to generate a strong call to action and talk directly to the employees, and our KPI would be quantitative research on how many employees actively took part. The second tool is PR, through a partnership launch press conference. Of course, we want to inform the relevant stakeholders of O2 and Age UK partnership. We want to raise awareness of the issue of loneliness, and we want to highlight the benefits of volunteering and donating. Who we will invite, this is just a little bit of an example. We want to invite, of course, The Guardian, Daily Mail, Telegraph, Financial Times, because these are newspapers that have a pretty good readership of our target age group of 25 to 34. And this is, of course, just to communicate with the key media. And then our third and probably most important is, again, social media marketing organically. We want to, of course, do it through corporate and private. Corporately, we want to post positive posts about the partnership with O2 and Age UK. The posts will have links directly to both donate and volunteer. And that ties in with private, which is maybe more important because it's private employees showing that they got to take the opportunity to take a little time of their workday to volunteer, to do something of a feel-good thing on their workday. They get to showcase it through a hashtag of Age UK O2 Workday. And then, of course, we want to mirror that back to the corporate account. And the reason is we want brand awareness, we want some web traffic, and we want more engagement. And we would measure this through KPIs on metrics on volume, tracking URL shares, and of course metrics around the retweets, comments, replies, etc. And then here are some examples. We left this pretty fluid to get a better idea, so it could be either corporate or personal accounts, but just what some posts might look like from the Age UK O2 Workday posts. And then our budget is much smaller because we're assuming that O2 can take a little bit from this to help us advertise a little bit more. So we have some PR at £5,000, direct marketing at £2,500 through our email, and social media 500, giving us a total of £8,000.
So the final budget would be will contain 2 campaigns, as we mentioned earlier, but also in the end of the whole period of the campaign, we're going to conduct marketing research in order to evaluate different metrics that we would be interested, like brand awareness or brand preference. That's the total budget that we're expecting to spend on the campaign. This is the ratio of the different types of media. So paid, earned, and owned are pretty much balanced, and it's even very positive that we are planning to capitalize on our owned media because we're a charity and we're trying to save as much money as we can. The budget is going to be split the following way. Obviously, advertising is going to take the majority because, unfortunately, this is the paid media. But PR, we expected it to be pretty small because our spendings are going to be only on the materials or organizing events. Well, direct marketing is obviously paid, and the social media and market research are going to be also not very big spendings.
So this is a media plan combining the campaigns both for families and corporates. So we can see that we will have a very big push at the beginning of the campaign, stressing on families. And of course, we're going to continue this on December because we want to exploit as much as possible the Christmas message. On January and February will be quieter, exploiting mainly internet and Facebook ads. And then in March, we want to push some more for the Easter message. And our corporate campaign will be shorter, and it will start in February because it's after the holidays, so employees will be fully working and they will be ready to volunteer for us. And we will have a post-evaluation campaign, which will be an online questionnaire to evaluate brand awareness, understanding of key messages, and brand preference.
Okay, Alice,
Yes.
20 minutes there.
Yes.
I'll just give you a couple of minutes just to explain that. It's very complicated, so if you just take us through the highlights, and then we'll call it a day. And just take a couple of highlights.
Yes, so this was the very ending of the presentation, just to show the broad picture that we are going to create for Age UK. So we will have vertical integration from the marketing objectives, splitting into the two key segments, and following our IMC objectives, and we will have horizontal integration using different marketing tools, advertising, PR, digital marketing, direct marketing, social media, and we will use them to raise awareness, level of comprehension, conviction, and call to action.
Okay, great. Well done.
Couple of little things. On one of the messages, you focused in on just the target group in the visual, and I was wondering why when you're talking about bringing families together, why you didn't have granddad and grandma at the same time, because they're part of the family. Did you deliberately?
I think we did mention that.
There was one particular slide
to bring their children as well as their grandparents and integrate generations within their families,
yeah,
as well as within their communities.
But the visual just had the young.
Okay.
It didn't have. I thought it was maybe. I didn't quite understand
Because
why
we
that.
social media campaign, so we want to followers to share pictures of them with their grandparents, showing that they are together.
Yeah.
So we focus more only on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was that. Just towards the end, you were on the budget. I thought there was a bit of a conflict between the last two slides of yours, Olga, where you had the final pie chart with 80% was advertising,
Yeah.
but on the one before you were doing the poem, the paid media was only about 40%. So that didn't quite chime.
Yeah, the thing is that we're gonna. Can I explain? I was just wondering. The thing is that we're going to spend a lot of budget on advertising, but it doesn't mean that we're going to be using it as much as the ratio. It just shows how much money we're going to be spending on it. But the ratio of using the media is going to be different because we're going to be using a lot of PR, a lot of social media, and advertising is going to be an additional part. And we were trying to reduce the number of paid media so that we can have a lot of coverage through our PR, through events. Obviously, it's going to be a lot of media that are interested in charities doing good things, because that's the material everyone is looking for, especially with our partnership with O2.
But really, no other main topic, no other main comments.
Okay. Elena, do you want to give us the client perspective on that?
Sure. Yeah, I really liked how you kind of tried to tie in what's it called, families and local communities. I was a bit at the end. I started to think that when you try to incorporate corporates into this, it kind of, to me, seemed almost like a campaign to O2, if that makes sense. But I think that you had a really good identification of the key issues, like what the trends are and all of that. As a note, when you're identifying target audiences, when you say classes B, C1, whatever, that doesn't really tell anything. It's just an overall look at the audience. So if you can dig into a bit deeper and kind of make them more human, that makes it kind of come alive.
Sure, like profession.
Yeah, just like, you know, is your name Olga? Yes. So Olga likes interior design. She likes to have a wine before she goes to bed, and she doesn't feel bad about posting or sharing information about it on Facebook, and she's, you know, make it more human, if that makes sense. Yeah, I was a bit confused though with the when you talked about families. I understand that it's families and then tying in the elderly, but also I do like it that you're trying to kind of engage like children, and then because they will kind of pass it on, and if they're volunteering and getting involved, that kind of that keeps through our life.
The parents invest in their children so that when they are old, the children will be already having this value of looking out.
No, that was really good. Yeah. And just one more thing. When you had the campaign execution, where you had take selfies with your grandparents, I have a feeling that might have been done already. Maybe by Age UK or someone else. But that's just, yeah. It's always good to kind of check if something has been done or not. But yeah, good.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, well, a lot of the things that I've got have already kind of been said, but I think it was a good, clear structure. I think you did a really nice flow of the presentation. It didn't feel rushed. It felt focused in the right areas. I think there was a balance there. It was a little bit short, and you know what? That's your key slide. You're talking about integration, horizontal and vertical, and you didn't have enough time for it. So that's a classic thing where, you know, your big finish was lost because you didn't have time for it. So we're really, really careful about timing. Some of the detail, you talked about we were moving towards a positive message and moving away from loneliness. And then we say loneliness is not a picnic. So I didn't necessarily feel that that was necessarily a positive message. I know you're trying to be positive about it, but I think you're falling into the stereotype you were trying to get away from. So a question mark against that, this idea loneliness is not a picnic, is not a very positive message. I know you were trying to turn it round, but as a starting point, as a lock-in, it's a negative. So it's just an overview. But I think, you know, you set out your target markets nicely. You had a matrix, love a matrix, what's not to like. So, you know, there was some really, really nice structure within that. I agree with what Elena said. Your profiles were very vague, very weak. You know, if you're going to tell us about these families, tell us how they feel about charities, tell us what they do. Do they feel guilty about not doing more? You know, that's what we need to know. We need some real insights, not just a description of this is who they are and this is how many children, what the children are called. You know, that's not the important part. The important part is how they live and how they respond with a brand. Tell us what they read. Tell us what the, you know, something about their media habits so we know how to get to them. That's what's important in the profile. So, you know, again, this applies to all your IMCs. Don't just leave it flat as a few things. They go shopping and they do this. Yeah, about the wine at night or whatever it is that they do. Tell us what kind of wine they're drinking. So that was all good. I got a little bit lost with your retail of what was going on. You were trying to raise 1.10 million. You had 10 families in, I assume, 460 stores. That's 4,600 family visits to raise 1.1 million. So that was so much per family. I think you need to work it through and take us through exactly how that's working. I wasn't sure what the picnics were or where they were they in the store?
In the store itself?
So you go in for a picnic in the store, so you move all the stuff out. You talked about them buying food, so what food is in, there's no food in a charity shop, so you bring in special food. So there was a bit of a logistics question that said, okay, I'm sure we can overcome that, but it just to me wasn't very clear. You did some free advertising when you're out of home. I can't remember who it was with. Waitrose, okay.
It's part of John.
I know it's part of John
Yeah,
Lewis.
that's why it is.
Waitrose every month they have that box where you put your green coins in and they choose 3 local charities. So, you know, what are you saying? We're pushing them out? Yeah, they've already got their partnerships with all of them. So when you can't put a presentation and make an assumption, oh, these people are going to do this for free, you know. And if you're going to do that, and this is part of the partnerships, you've got to say, what's in it for them? And on the reverse side of that, I think when you did the O2, I think you did it beautifully. I think you did a fantastic justification of why O2 would work. And I think, you know, you looked at their objectives and you said there's some synergy, there's some similarity here. And I think that was really, for me, that was the strongest part. Your justification was really, really spot on. And I thought, yeah, that would work. Why wouldn't O2 want to do this? So I think that was really, really important. I think you got a little bit lost between it being a corporate social responsibility, in which case O2 would say, you're going to do this, and you're going to spend an hour phoning all people because we're committed to this. So you wouldn't have to try and convince them to be volunteers. Or if you're going to get people to volunteer, I'm not sure O2 would have you contacting them, their people. There was some mix up there. It's one or the other. I think the former would be better.
You'd have to. You wouldn't approach them through an email. It'd have to be agreed with top management. And you could, you know, there's every likelihood that they would see you as a strategic partner.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be. That wouldn't be the first.
And I think those links that you got with communicating and communities and putting all that together, I think it was a really, really powerful message for O2. And I think it came together really well. So for me, that was by far the strongest part of that. It was a really good scheme and it was really well executed. The other bit, the retail thing, I think was a little bit vague for me. There's still a bit of issues. You've got 15,000 people who are mentoring. You had 2,150 people involved in the volunteering. I wasn't again sure of your numbers, but you know, hey, that's okay. So yeah, they were my key points. I think there were some fantastic strengths in it. Some of the bits could be a little bit tighter. Shame we didn't get to that at the end, but altogether really good, really well presented, clear, concise, professional. Well done.
Thank you.